everyone, I'm Brittany Jones Cooper and welcome to Build at Home. Today I'm super excited to be chatting with Selenis Leyva about her new book. First, I want to remind you guys that this is a really difficult time for a lot of people. As of today, there have been 168 million unserved school meals because of school cancellations. There is a campaign called No Kid Hungry that is looking to help feed these communities. So if you're looking for a way to help out, visit nokidhungry.org. Now I want to shift gears and talk to Selenis. Hey, Selenis. How you doing?
How are you? Good, I'm good.
I'm good. Let's do a quick coronavirus check-in because that's what everybody's thinking about.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I think we're, trying to stay positive, trying to stay optimistic and hopeful. All I can say to everyone is really, truly listen to the authorities, stay home. If there's anything that we can learn from somewhere like Italy is that when you don't listen to what we are being told to do by our medical professionals and our government, we could end up in a really bad situation. Here in New York City, we are seeing that we are in need of about 140,000 beds. That's the projection that they're seeing as of today. And we only have 53,000 beds. So we are definitely in code red here. And I think everyone just stay home. Stay home, watch a movie, read a book. Just chill out.
Yes. What are you doing? You said you're in New York. I'm in New York also. Yeah. I've been sort of only popping into the news once a day. So I know updates, but otherwise I don't want to get too nervous. So how are you sort of dealing with that?
I think I've also conditioned myself to kind of just pop in for a little bit of news coverage, just to kind of, be aware of what the new is. But I have to stay away from it. I am trying to keep myself sane by enjoying my time with my dog, my cat, my child. Cooking at home has been, I never get to do that. So the fact that I have to step that up. Listening to music. I do Zumba, little Zumba, classes here and there.
Have you been in the D Nice live stream? Have you seen that at all?
Yes, that was awesome. I tuned in the other day. And you just gotta get creative. I have some girlfriends and friends that we make dates and we're like, okay, it's wine o'clock, or we just get creative, I had a toga party the other day. It's fun stuff. Yeah.
A toga party?
A toga party. I had a friend, a special person recommend a toga party. And I was like, I'm in it.
I have not done anything fun like that. I am not properly utilizing this time.
I think we need to get with the program here. I think we need to step up and get with the program, that there's many things that we can do to totally have fun and be creative.
Yeah, I have to ask, what have you been cooking? I'm sort of searching for recipes.
Oh my gosh. So the thing is that my daughter's a vegan and I'm a pescatarian. So a lot of we're coming up with challenges as far as like fresh veggies. I'm unfortunately running out of fresh veggies and I'm scared to go out to the market. So I stocked up on frozen veggies and a lot of couscous and quinoa dishes, a lot of plant-based substitutes for meats. I don't know. And baking. We the other day, my daughter baked red velvet cake and it's gone.
You don't have to give me your address when we get off the line here, because I'm in New York and I have to say that my kitchen has not been utilized in the same way.
Oh, we gotta get it. I have like these amazing recipes for like bowls of couscous and chickpeas with chipotle spices. We gotta get creative and
you're doing it up.
Yeah,
I love it. I have actually been spending my time reading a lot. So I was happy to get your book. It's called My Sister.
Yes.
I read through most of it last night. That's the beauty of having time. And the story that you and your sister share is so beautiful. It's difficult at moments, and so important. So tell me why you and Marizol wanted to write this book together and why you wanted to write it now.
Yeah, I think that the reason why we wanted to write it together, obviously, is because we're always told about how LGBTQ plus or people in the trans community are basically have to go through a lot of these things by themselves. It's always a story about how their families have turned their backs on them, how their community and loved ones have turned their backs. I thought it was important to show that doesn't always have to be the narrative, that with love and acceptance and a lot of work, and it's a lot of hard work. I'm not here to tell you that it was easy for me. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. My family and I had to learn by falling, by picking ourselves up, by making those mistakes. But it was important for me to showcase that kind of narrative, the narrative of we can be supportive of our loved ones when they're transitioning, when they're discovering their truth, and not lose who you are as a family. You know, you certainly are helping, you're certainly saving a life. And that was important for me to kind of like highlight the positive, you know, that this is a love story. This is a story about how a family can truly bond
Yeah.
and be there for their loved ones. I think it was important also to have both our voices, her voice as a trans woman, my voice as a cis woman and an ally, and really show what it is to truly say I'm an ally and what I'm doing to be an ally. And this is the type of book that speaks to that. This is the type of book that will not only share our story, but also hopefully give resources. We made it a point to make sure that we included a section of resources so that when you are in that position, like we found ourselves, we didn't have the resources that exist today. How fortunate, how wonderful that these do exist today. How wonderful that I have a platform that I can say, okay, it's time to tell this story, a Latinx story, a story of someone who didn't have the means to get, you know, all the hormone therapy and the fabulous doctors and the surgeries and the covers of magazines. And, you know, this is the like the nitty gritty stuff. So I think that that was really important for us to share.
Yeah, and you talk about the family support, and I really, your relationship is so special. You talk about very early on how your family adopted her, how you fell in love with her right away. I just love reading about that bond, and also how protective you were for her against your own family, knowing that in the Latinx community, men and masculinity, those are really heightened issues, and you were trying to protect her from that.
Yeah. And it's not, you know, when we talk about the masculinity in the Latinx community, it's not saying, you know, oh my God, these are bad men, these are bad people. It's just that there is a lack of communication, there is a lack of knowledge, there is a lack of education when it comes to these type of conversations. And so I always feel like it's okay to say, I don't understand it, I don't know it, I don't even know how to begin to understand the word or the world of a trans person. Well, this is the opportunity to do that. This is the opportunity to say, okay, let's have conversations about it. You know, my father, a Cuban man, my brothers raised in the Bronx, you know, we were surrounded by very specific gender roles. I think we all were. We've all been raised. I think now is when we're seeing more conversations that are like proudly saying we can kind of step out of the box. But for the most part, it's generational. It's been with us for years. And so I challenge people to step outside of their comfort zone. I challenge people to let go of the old way of thinking. And we do that with this book. You know, hopefully we can show my family's journey and how we were just, you know, this family of immigrants, you know, from the Bronx, and how we found it within ourselves to be supportive, to be loving.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned that it is an education in a lot of different areas in the book. And one, in very early in the book, you talk about pronouns and your decision to switch up the pronouns in the storytelling. So can you just take me through your guys' decision to do that?
Yeah, you know, I thought it was really important to introduce, to start off the book, you know, my voice introducing the story, and then being truthful to where we were at that time, which was Marisol as a child, as a baby before her transition. Once we got past that, it was important for us, and we discussed this at length, to acknowledge that we were going to be using the correct pronouns that she is currently living in. This is her truth. And that was important because I found it that I didn't want people to get confused.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't want people to give the even the slightest opening for someone in the street or down the line, or someone who interviewing her later on to mispronounce, you know, like use the wrong pronoun to. So I've been very careful with that. We've been very careful with that to make it a point to tell our readers from the jump how we were going to move with this book. Because I think that we have to always set that up. You know, it's really important for people not to get confused. And along the way, I shared how I made my mistakes. It was hard for me in the beginning, because not because I couldn't understand where she was, but because of the conditioning. It was something that I had been used to. And this is a perfect example of, all it takes is that the decision to flip it on and be more aware, and then suddenly it wasn't a big deal. Suddenly I didn't have to think about it twice. But in the very beginning I did. And I made mistakes by using her birth name at times while she was transitioning. I made mistakes by the wrong pronoun. But it became less and less as time went by. And it's okay. It's okay for those things to happen early on, as long as you are conscious of knowing that you have to switch it, you know?
Yeah, you have to make that effort. I think in the book you state that it is a person's decision, their sexual orientation and identity, and it's really up to us just to support them and do our best to support them. And it's not I talk to a lot of people in the LGBT plus community, and it's like, we just want to see the effort, you know?
Yes, it's just the effort. It's really the effort. I think early on I did a talk show. I think it was with Ice-T, Ice-T and Coco. They had their talk show. And I think early on, you know, I remember during the interview, he said, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. So can you help me? And I was like, you know what? The fact that you are even saying that to me means that you want to understand.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? I have a problem with those that are just like, nope, I don't get it. I don't want to know it. But when you say to me, I just don't understand it, can you help me? What do you mean by that? What does it mean that she always knew, or that you always knew? Like, I always knew. Yes, I am a true, I can tell you the testament here is like my testimony is, from a very early age, I saw a little baby, a child who clearly had a disconnect between their essence and their body, their physical being. It was clear to me, clear. At the time, obviously, I didn't have the tools, but it was clear.
So what was it like for you then to go back and read her chapters? Because when she talks about her childhood, it really does break your heart. You want every child just to be able to like be them true selves, and to realize that a lot of kids don't get to do that is really painful. So what was it like for you as her sister, but really somebody who mothered her, to read about her experience?
I think, you know, I mean, forget about reading it. I think it was the process of writing it, the process of sitting there and hearing the stories and having to hash out these feelings. A lot of things that I was unaware of came out during that time, that broke my heart, because I've always felt somehow that I could have, should have done better. You know, right now I think like, wow, where was I, or what couldn't I have done? But honestly, what could I have done at the time? I couldn't have done anything. And so there was a moment of feeling guilty for not having seen things, not having like almost been more aware. And it took me quite some time to get to a place of stop being hard on yourself. You did the best that you could at the time. So that was really hard. And to this day, you know, I could say to my sister, I get it, I understand, but we don't understand. We can never understand truly what it means to be a trans woman, a trans man, just trying to survive. It's literally as simple as they're just trying to survive in a world that continues to tell them you're wrong.
Exactly.
What you feel, your essence, who you are, is wrong. Like, how dare us, right? How dare we as people think that we have that power? So, but when I do hear of wonderful things happening and families coming together and supporting their young children, that gives me hope. That gives me hope for our future. So I think the timing of this book is it's good. It's a celebration. It's a celebration, and it's a book of survival, and it's a book of love, and it's a book of triumph.
Yeah. And you mentioned, you know, how could you know what she was going through? And she does a really good job at explaining that she wasn't even fully sure what she was experiencing and wanting and feeling. And so we have to give people the time to figure those things out, and not try to push them into a box or pressure them. You know, I think something like this, it is something that takes a while to sort of.
It takes a while. and you know, even for her, like when she does say in the early chapters, like there's a beautiful moment where her friend says, I'm trans.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh my goodness, I guess that's what I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, that was
That's me. How beautiful, right? How honest that moment. And that goes to show you, you know, it dispels the idea that you learn these things, you know,
mm-hmm.
that this is a fad or something. No, this is not. This is what your truth is. This is your soul speaking to you. And here is this young woman, this young person saying, I don't know what this is, but
Yeah.
it feels very different from how people are seeing me, what
Mm-hmm.
people are saying to me. So that discovery for me is always a part of the book that I love, because it's an aha moment, you know, it's a
Yeah.
celebration. It's like, oh wait, that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, so I'm not alone.
Right.
And hopefully that's what the book is going to do for a lot of families. It's
Yeah.
like, you're not alone. The process is hard, but it's doable.
Yeah.
You can make it to the other side.
And she had the family support, but then when she does find her community and how much that helps and influenced her, that again is another just really inspiring story to tell, I think,
Yeah.
for people, is that you
And
can, if
it's
you
a
don't have
celebration.
family, you can find that chosen family.
Absolutely. And that's what I say to a lot of people, you know, who will say to me, well, what can you say to someone right now who is transitioning, who doesn't have the support of their immediate family? I
Mm-hmm.
say to you, there's families out there that you can dive in and be a part of.
Yeah.
You know, the beautiful thing about the LGBTQ plus community is that everyone is ready to
Mm-hmm.
be there for each other, to be the sister, to be the brother, to be the support. That exists. And now we have it more accessible to us because of social media, because of the internet. Like, go out there. There are more people that are like you than not. So if
Mm-hmm.
your own family has shunned you or is still not ready, um, you can find support. You can build and create your own family. It does exist out there.
I love that. And
Yeah.
is there just one before we go, just one final takeaway from the book that you just want readers to think about or share with their families?
I just want people to be open, to stay open to this story, to just for 1 second, just read it. Put yourself in the shoes of someone else. Um, really think about what it would be like to feel trapped and
Mm,
not being able to be who you are, and wake up in the morning and feel that you feel connected to yourself, you feel connected to the universe, to God, and to everything, but you're being told that somehow you're not.
mm,
And I would just, if we could just put ourselves in the shoes of that other person for just 1 second, to truly say, what would that be like? What would
mm,
it be like if I couldn't walk down the street without fear of my life being taken from me, fear of not being able to get employment, fear of not being able to find love?
mm.
Just put yourself in the shoes of these individuals, and I have a feeling that you will find empathy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I really enjoyed reading the book. It was well written. It was a fast read, but it was also really emotional. And it just, I think it will just teach people that empathy is the only thing that really matters,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it really does. Especially,
Um,
listen, this is the universe, and the world is saying to us, shake it
right?
up a little bit, right? This is the time. And if we don't come out better from this situation, I
Ooh,
don't know
come on. If we don't come
what.
out better, there's nothing.
If we don't come out better, there is nothing left for us. So I invite everybody to, you know, read the book, order the book. It's available, hard book. It's
Came out
available.
today, right?
Okay, yeah, today. You know, audio. I mean, you have so many ways of ordering it. Just give a little bit of your time to this. Open your hearts, open your minds, and pass it along, because I
Yeah.
do really feel that all it takes is just one person to gotta just open up the door, and others will follow.
I agree. So the book is called My Sister, How One Sibling's Transition Changed Us Both. Selenis, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.